This is Bobby from Ragged Poet, and today I'm going to give you a walkthrough and a review of the Dream Raven Tarot by Beth Seilonen. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She does amazing art. I've got a Lenormand deck of hers, and she makes these self-published tarot decks, but she's done a couple of like more mainstream decks with Schiffer Publishing. And this is the Dream Raven Tarot. And before we go into that, actually, I want to show you this, because I may have to blow it out, but this is like, you see this candle? It's actually 3 candles melted together that my daughter made in her room. And she gave it to me, and I just love it. That's the last one that's alight. That's my amethyst. This is my dream crystal, which I've got to use with this deck because it's a dream deck. And this is a little Mala bracelet, my fairy tale one that I got from an amazing Etsy seller. But I really want to introduce you to this new guy in my life. Say hello to Tim. This is Tim the Enchanter from Monty Python's Holy Grail, and he came today, and it's all Joyce's fault. Actually, no, I'm not giving away my power. I fell in love with Tim. I saw him on one of her Instagram pictures, and I really like him because he has horns, and he's kind of hip, and he's cool, and he's a little magician, and he's got a real kind of, I don't know if you can see it, if I move his head turns around, he's got this really cool kind of bits and pieces necklace, and he makes fire, so he's very much a wand kind of magus, enchanter. And he came with the evil bunny. You don't want to know about the evil bunny, but this one has got a little heart nose. He's not evil, he's a lovely bunny. So here we go. So Tim and his lovely bunny are going to help us today. Okay, on to the deck. So it's got one of these lovely Schiffer boxes with the magnetic flap like a book. There's the spine. And there's the back. As a dream carrier of messages for the soul, Dream Raven Tarot opens the gateway from the dream world to the conscious world via the wonderful Avery watercolours of Beth Seilonen. By bringing dream information into conscious thought, this lively 78 card deck enables an honest assessment of your current state of affairs, as well as a better understanding of the self and the world around you. Each card image exhibits core ideals of the tarot through modern and history, iconography and symbolism, incorporating fun body language and cheerful colours. Within each suit, a menagerie of ravens take on a different body structure and style that reflect the corresponding element of that suit. The bright colours enhance the overall mood and message. A light and refreshing deck and guidebook with decorative lines that connect each raven to their suits and attributed elements, ranging from vibrant to subtle. These dream ravens are appropriate for any age and any level of tarot reader, so dream on. There we are. Okay, so opening the box, nice little ribbon and little, Schiffer do amazing boxes, I have to say that. They do amazing boxes. I'm not so happy with their printing. I have actually trimmed this deck, and I should have probably done the video with at least a couple of untrimmed cards, but I didn't. I trimmed it because, well, I'll put a photograph into the video that you can see, but I trimmed it because it had these borders. Is there a picture on the? Is there a picture of it on the box? Oh, I think you probably can't see that one. But basically, the borders did not look good. They looked terrible. They were all misaligned. They had this horrible shadowy effect. And the borders were all uneven. They weren't straight and they weren't even. So when I trimmed them, it was a nightmare. I had to trim every card individually. I use a cutter, not scissors. And on this deck, I think I would have been way better with scissors, because some of the titles, the backs, so you couldn't ever get the front and back symmetrical because of the way they were printed. And when you could, I've trimmed the back, the border off the back, half the titles disappeared on some of the cards. Some people won't notice that, but I'm an artist. I've been a printer. I've done all of that stuff. I'm trained to notice these things, and if I didn't, I would be crap actually at my profession. So, but this is how big. This is the I can get it out. The information card. That's how big they were before I trimmed them. So there you can see how much I cut off, and they're still quite big. They're still very long. So yeah, that's the deck. Those I've already showed you. Those are the backs, which are nice and they're kind of reversible. But as I said, because of the trimming, the way I had to trim the cards because they were so uneven, they're not perfect. So I'll move the box out of the way, and then we've got the guidebook. So I'll put the box down there for a moment. It's a nice book, little square guidebook. Just gives you the intro that I just read you from the box, and it goes through the cards. It's vaguely, it's not actually totally Rider-Waite-Smith based. I'll point out some of the differences that I've found, but it is, you know, roughly based on that. A lot of the minor arcana could even just be very decorative pip cards, I guess, but the whole deck has this amazing flow, I think, because of the colours and that they are all ravens. It just kind of flows. It's I don't know, it's very flowy, and it works well together. I had to put it all back in order to show you it, and it takes me ages to shuffle and shuffle and shuffle and make me happy that a deck's ready to do a spread with. So when I have to put them back in order, I'm not always happy about it, but there we are. So I'm gonna go through this deck with you and show you the cards and a little bit of my input. So this is the Fool. He's pretty traditional in that he's carefree, doesn't give a damn. Reminds me a lot of the Fool in the Deviant Moon Tarot deck. The little guy in his stripy shirt flipping around in the canals in Venice. He's got the new moon going on, so all new energy, everything's new, everything can be done. He's already jumped off the cliff here, but maybe he's going to fly back into it, I don't know. But he's a very happy-go-lucky, traditional kind of style, colourful Fool. And then we've got the Magician, who's, again, he's very traditional. He's got all his 4 elements. We use fence posts in this one for wands in this deck, because obviously ravens, I guess, sit on fence posts. So he's got his cups, his pentacles, his wands, and his sword. And the High Priestess, who I really love, again, she's got the full moon, so she's got all the intuition and the emotional stuff, and she's got reflection, reflecting on the 3 stages. The triple moon, which kind of represents the maiden mother crone. So she's got all her wisdom there, and the self-reflection and the connections of the cosmos and the earth. And there's the lightning struck tree here, for those in the dark tree for the 2 towers. And I like this card particularly because I love lightning, what I call lightning trees. And then we've got the Empress. This kind of reminds me of a kind of peacock tail, the little spirally things. She's wearing the ankh, which is, they call it Cleopatra's cross too, but it's also the cross of eternal life, and it was the goddess Isis, who was the god of like marriage and families and everything. She always had an ankh. She was always pictured with an ankh. So the symbolism of the ankh is very much Empress, with the family and the protection and the nurturing and looking after the earth. And she's above the earth, so she's kind of looking after the earth, Mother Earth. The Emperor, he's got his sword for the clear-cut, decisive, intellectual thinking. He's got the light of the sun on his side, but he's also got a cup here, which I kind of like that, because that adds a little bit of the fatherly aspect of the Emperor, like the caring, slightly emotional side, which you don't often see in the Emperor, but I like that cup. You know, I can't remember if the traditional Rider-Waite card has a cup. Maybe it does. But this is the cup from the cup, so yeah. Hierophant, again, quite traditional, got the open rose or flower behind him, which looks a bit like a Tudor rose. And he's got his like lectern he's perched on, the Christian cross or crucifix. But he's also got all these roots. He's got these roots, tree root things coming out of the flower, which is kind of like his tradition. To me, represents tradition, going back into tradition. But the flower makes me look at him as being open, not closed to other faiths and belief systems. So this Hierophant, although he's got traditional values, I don't think being dogmatic would stop his sharing his wisdom with people of all faiths and trying to use his wisdom in a non-Christian way, if you like, a non-dogmatic way. Don't know what I'm saying there. The Lovers. Okay, this is like the Ring in the Normand deck. They're making a contract. Two people committing, making a contract together. So that's pretty straightforward, because the Lovers is kind of about a contract. And then we've got the Chariot. And the Chariot is kind of harnessed to the yin and yang energy. So we've got the two different energies, and the Chariot is kind of, the Raven is rising above these, and it's quite harnessed. He's got like a breastplate, wearing a breastplate of a tree. So it's kind of like he's bringing the two energies together and working them together in unison and keeping them like controlled. I mean, they are slightly apart, but he's keeping them in balance. So not letting them get too out of balance. And then Strength. Again, we've got the tree and the Raven coming up, taking the whole energy of the tree up like a phoenix. And then there's a dragonfly showing like above him, kind of guiding the way kind of thing. And the dragonflies are quite amazing because they've got the three different life cycles going on, from when they're like the egg, and then the little nymph that lives underwater for ages, and then the dragonfly comes up for sometimes not a very long part of its life when it becomes a dragonfly. So this dragonfly is a mature dragonfly because it's not a nymph anymore, it's come up out of the water. And maybe the Strength, the Raven is looking to the dragonfly for growth and maturity, and using the tree roots to provide the strength to keep going and growing. The Hermit. And the Hermit, is he holding a crystal? It looks like he's holding a crystal, and he's got his eyes closed. So the crystal, I would say, represents knowledge. And his eyes are closed to the world because he's in isolation, taking time out and trying to build up his inner wisdom. The Wheel of Fortune. This card is, again, the keyword, I've looked at the book, and the keyword on this card was focus. You need to focus on something. If you don't focus, you're just following someone else's head, and you kind of can just keep spinning around with nothing happening. That kind of deviates a little bit from the Rider-Waite system, I think. And then Justice, where we've got a kind of scale here, and we've got the spring leaf and the autumn leaf. So life and death and balance. And again, it's a cycle. And the Hanged, just called this two there. The Hanged, so he's looks like he's been trying to break away from what's tied him, and he's got tangled up more maybe because you've got this loose bit here and it looks broken. So he's got in a bit of a kerfuddle when he needs to sort of slow down and chill out, but he's obviously been panicking. Now he's probably decided the best thing to do is to chill out and maybe wait for the rope to spin itself untangled or something. So it is kind of traditional with the time out thing. And Death. we've got runes on this card. So that looks like a kind of tombstone. And then the raven looks like one of those angels with the moon, looks like a head that you see in old graveyard. The focus of this card revolves around change. Everything happens for a reason, and sometimes you need to have an extra universal shove to set you in the right direction. Temperance. Now this is interesting because we've got the reflection, we've got the raven looking in the water, but the cups are actually not connected to this raven. It's like they're doing their thing completely independent of him or her. And the raven's looking and reflecting, whereas the energy, the stuff that's going in and out of these cups is staying in and out of those cups and not affecting the raven. But I think I want to see what the book says about that one. The dream raven temperance gracefully tests the waters, showing brighter times, while the ideas of others that try to influence her ideals simply flow away and back into the cups from whence they came. So the key idea for this card is inner belief. It illustrates that only you know what will truly bring about your own happiness and spiritual growth. Take this time to practice quiet talk and meditate upon your ultimate dreams, letting the dreams that others have for you slip away. I really like that. There's something about this deck that's kind of different in a really illuminating way to the Rider-Waite, kind of lifts it, and to me that is a better temperance card than the traditional one, because when I look at temperance I always think of meditation, which it says about this one, and self-reflection sort of, but the thing about letting others' ideas go and concentrating on what you really need is awesome. I like it. The Devil, what I get out of this card is he's got everything he's got is taken up by holding on to all these, trying to hold on to all this power and everything. So it's kind of like greedy, and he can't really go anywhere or do much because even he's got a pentacle in his eye, so he's kind of probably blinded. He can't see or do much. He can't use his feet to take off because he's holding on to everything too tightly, and he's going to have to let something go, I think, before he can move on. So I'd say that was about greed. The Tower. The Tower's interesting too. So here we've got the branch of the wand, which is burning away, the broken cup, the sword, which is stabbed right through the poor raven, and the pentacle's got like a lightning crack or something through it. So it is everything breaking apart completely. And even to the self-destruction of the raven, and then this kind of flame engulfing it all. So it really is a really pretty horrific tower. Let's see if that tower has a positive thing. Yep, the focus of this card is tearing down, turmoil, breaking apart. Oh, so okay, so the release of tension. It's about everything is releasing tension. But I'm not so sure that releasing tension is too good if you've got a sword straight through your head. Well, I can see where it's coming. I wish the sword wasn't going through the raven's head, because I want there to be hope for the raven to start again with a head intact, without a hole through the middle. Okay, the star. There we go. The star, she's got the yin-yang symbol on her wing. Looking up, hope, destiny, beautiful purple shiny star, a little bit woo-woo, very nice, typical star card. The moon, okay, we've got the water, we've got the raven, looks like the raven's crying. I love this moon card, and the reason the raven's crying is because it's a full moon, and it's about, I think the full moon is about letting go of things that you may not want to let go of, but you've got to let go of to move on to the next cycle. And it's like tears of blood going into the water there. So I think this is about letting go, which is, again, that's different to the Rider-Waite moon, which is kind of more about deception. and delusion from what I remember. I mean, I haven't really read the Rider-Waite meanings for a long time, but I'm pretty sure the moon was about, you know, the hidden side and darkness and deception. But let's see what the book says about the moon, because I like it. When all else fails in life, there are times when it is best to pack up and fly away. There is nothing more to gain by hanging on to what is not meant to be or that is unhealthy to life. The focus of this card is letting go. Giving up can be a painful and sorrowful event, but you need to do this for your own sake and sanity. You are strong enough to do what needs to be done and can weather the tides of emotion to break free of the past. Oh, so that is more or less exactly what I see in the card. It's just what the card says. It's a beautiful moon card. The sun. The sun is a big happy sun with a big happy sunflower. And the raven is clutching on to the yin-yang energy. And everything's whole and good and blessed and growing well. So that's a typical sun card. And judgment. I love this judgment card. I'm not sure what the book says, but it's kind of like, this raven looking back and like, okay, I might be judged, you might be judging me, but life goes on. The sun's setting on something and the last autumn leaf is falling from the tree, and it's almost like he's standing back and, okay, saying to society, whatever you think, I know what I'm doing, I know who I am. But I'm going to look at the book again because I want to know what it says. As the sun fades away on the horizon, the last leaf silently glides to the ground, while the dream raven takes one last look upon the land before night descends. The focus of this card is resolution. It suggests that it is time to accept the past, and it is now time to lay it to rest and let it be as it will. Time will move on past this point, and others' opinions will be as they are. Oh, that's really cool, because this is exactly what I see. Oh, these are tears. I didn't know these were tears, but this is what I see in his look, you know. Whatever you think, I'm me. So the illustrations on these cards are really good. They've been done really well to fit with what's happening. I like that one. The world. In the world, the raven carries a ribbon. We've got the 4 elements around, and possibly the 4 seasons, but we've got the, I don't know what the ribbon's about. The moon, let me have a look. The world, let's mention the ribbon. Caught in the eclipse of time, embraces the wholeness of all the various nuances in life that have gone into this moment. The world shows a new level of confidence and being content in that knowledge, accepting of the past and ready to move ahead to the future. Maybe the ribbon's a ribbon like one, like you get when you get a degree or something, a ribbon on your hat or a medal. Or, I don't know, yeah, because you win ribbons, so I think it might be that. Maybe it's passed through one whole cycle of the arcana, and it's got a ribbon and it's ready to move on and do it again and get another ribbon. So those are the majors. So I'm going to move those out of the way a minute. And then we're going to go on to the wands. The Ace of Wands is very fiery, inspiring, lots of sun and fire and magic. And I think wands are, I would say, autumn in this deck. And the 2 of Wands, again we've got, looks to me like he's got the world at his feet, the world is his oyster, can make anything happen, got to make a choice, he's got lots of things open to him, he needs to kind of maybe decide which way to go, but he's got all these different things to go between, because he can fly and he can do anything. And then the 3 of Wands, again, traditional like Rider-Waite, he's got chosen what he's doing and he's got to manifest something now, so he's got the logs together to build his fire. Yeah, it says autumny leaves, so he's going to make something happen. And then the 4 of Wands, what have we got here? He's made something happen by the looks of it. He's made all this big flame and He looks kind of happy and successful. The Five of Wands, which is, I think, in the main Rider-Waite system about unrest. Well, he's got the 5 wands there, the 5 sticks, fence posts, but he looks like he's standing, like taking a tea break. So, okay, so the focus of this card is building. Everything feels as though it's fitting together perfectly. So this is what he's doing here. He's sitting in his little tea hut that he's built. I knew it had something to do with tea huts. So again, that deviates a bit from the traditional Rider-Waite. And then the Six of Wands, which kind of looks, there's 3 sets of things going on here, and it's got all these posts. I think this is like the traditional one for community. Well, I see it as getting help from the community, and there's all these empty fence posts, so maybe he's calling on the community to come and join him on the fence posts and help. Seven of Wands. Now he's got all these wands coming at him. Know that you have the creative energy to take what you need from each idea and dream, modify it and create something new and even better than before. Granted, it may also seem a bit overwhelming all at once. However, if you break it down into smaller, more manageable situations, you'll find contentment in organisation. Okay, whatever. Right, the Eight of Wands. So this one's definitely, now this is very different to the traditional. This is one I remember now thinking is really different to the Rider-Waite, because the Rider-Waite Eight of Wands is that classic speed action card, you know, with all the wands flying. I should have bought a Rider-Waite. So, okay, this is the Rider-Waite. Over there. Eight of Wands, in case you don't know it. Most people will know it, but see, it's all about action, fast movement, whereas this one's very stagnant and about the opposite of taking action. So that is very different to the traditional. And then we've got the Nine of Wands, and the Raven is, not sure what he's hiding behind that big one. And normally, again, in the Nine of Wands, you see the guy with all the, like, wands behind him, I think, like he's satisfied with what we've done so far. And he's kind of taken time out. And maybe this is what he is doing. So maybe that is like the traditional one. Hiding away from the world, keeping a wary eye upon the situation that's taken shape in spite of his efforts. His voice of reason makes very little impact on the masses as they are set in their ways. Oh yeah, so that is kind of a bit like the traditional one. And then we've got the Ten of Wands, when it looks like his little house has all come down. Trials and tribulations all at her doorstep. So all the burdens of the world have fallen on this poor little raven, which is again very traditional. So the Page. New dreams and ideas, childlike in perspective. It is in these moments that one should give into these flights of fancy as one idea leads to the next. I like that card. That is very much me. But again, like the court cards, they are difficult ones. I don't tend to always see them as people, but I do see them as stages of life. And I normally see the pages as like young or being new at something, and new and impulsive. So then we've got the Knight of Wands, who's got his beautiful armour, and he's kind of fiery. He's getting ready for the night. Defending the dreams and ideals of the people. Isn't that nice? There are times in which he may work as a muse to inspire the creative voice, but just like a dream, he floats in and right back out again, barely even touching the ground under his feet. The Queen of Wands. Now she's really cool. And she's got the dragonfly. So she's got what I call the maiden mother crone energy going on there, with all the life cycles of the dragonfly. She's a true live wire with an overabundance of creative energy pouring out of every pore in her being, certain to keep life interesting. So again, the Queen, and their courts are kind of like people here. And then we got the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is, again, he's the artist. He's got an amazing amount of inspiration and colour and energy going on. So that's the wands and that's autumn. And then we're going to go on to the, move them out of the way. The favourite suit of mine, the swords, because they're wintry. So the Ace of Swords, again we've got the dragonfly. This is kind of cool, because you don't really see dragonflies much in winter, but in my old house we had an Aga cooker, and I designed these tiles to go over it with hares going through the seasons, because I keep telling you I love hares. Not evil vampire bunnies, but hares. But this is not an evil vampire bunny. And the tiles, I did a hare for each season, and then I got them put onto ceramic tiles and fired and everything. And we accidentally put a dragonfly into the winter hare, so the hares are on the snow-covered field, and there's a dragonfly there. And this deck has got a dragonfly in the winter too. There is an element of the wands in the ideas and dreams that are built up to this moment. Now there is the step of deliberate action to make those dreams into reality. And the focus of this card is action. Okay, so the suits are following on from each other. So we've got the Two of Swords, when it looks like this raven does not want to make a decision, and the dragonflies are coming at him, and it is kind of like the traditional one, blindfolded, he's covering his eyes up. But, and the focus of this card is karma. I'll just show you, I'm reading. The duality of this card brings the idea of choices that you can enact, knowing that for every action there is an opposite reaction. Consider your actions carefully, as they will affect others around you without intention. Right, when presented in the reverse key, this card suggests that you've given little regard to the effects of your actions on others, or others' actions have had a profound effect upon your life. So there we go. And the Three of Swords, there we are, that's pretty traditional. Heartache and pain. With the Three Swords going through the heart. And we got the Four of Swords, which looks like, again, a bit like the two, the ravens burying their head in the sand. This raven illustrates a perfect example of what not to do. Do not ignore the situation. Ignorance to the current action or deciding not to act will only cause the situation to worsen over time. Expecting things to just work out in the end without a bit of work from themselves is certainly foolhardy on many levels. So then we've got the Five of Swords. And this one looks like the swords are getting out of control. They're flying all around him. Okay, so it says the focus of this card is insight. Playing on the Two of Swords consideration of cause and effect on our actions, this card illustrates directly how things have played out. There's a victor and a loser in this tale, and it all depends upon your perception. Does the victor simply grab at what they can and fly away, or is the victorious one the one who's defended their ground with head bowed in a moment of rest before arising and picking up the pieces? Okay, so you've got, oh, I didn't see that other raven, you've got the bowed raven. So again, you've got a duality. The Six of Swords, pretending nothing's wrong and things will go away on their own accord, regardless of how our actions have contributed to the situation. So the focus of this card is responsibility. The reason things are as they are is directly due to you, which is kind of like it said about the at the end of the Wands, the Ten of Wands. So again, that's very different to the Rider-Waite. Seven of Swords. Again, we've got swords flying everywhere, and you've got this raven holding on to one sword, having a good look at all these other swords and possibly wondering where they're coming from. And it says, with his coloration seeming to blend into the background, he grasps a couple of swords, balancing up on one foot in a very calm, cool and collected manner. He was aware of other swords falling through the air and those to stay right where he is for the moment. However, there are still some that are hanging overhead just out of sight, ready to fall with the next gust of wind. Okie dokie. So this one's about being prepared. You're aware and have control of some of the current situations going on in your life, but overall the events that surround you are not of your doing. Yet you must interact and deal with them the best way you can. Be prepared even for things that you are not aware of. So in a way, it's kind of like a Boy Scout card. the Eight of Swords. Oh, now this looks completely different because the Raven's controlled, got all of the swords completely under control here. So going from, he must have made the right move in the 7 by waiting and seeing what swords he could get and getting the right things going, because he's now seems to have regained control, and he's hanging on to all of these swords. So, woven into her wings, maintaining dignity and composure throughout any situation, regardless of inner turmoil. But this is quite a rough suit of swords in this deck for the poor old Raven. So we've got that all inner turmoil and stuff going on, and then in the next card we've got the 9, which again, the Raven does seem to be in control. So the 8 of Swords was about composure, and the 9 is feeling the pressure of the situation, wonders if he can maintain any form of sanity. We all know that one. His mind slowly slips away into the demons of anxiety, and what was once easy to manage seems to be beyond his ability at the moment. Oh dear, that is not good. The Raven finds himself in stark contrast with the situation around him. He's made tremendous changes, however. Old ideas and expectations try to hinder his new approach. And this again, I like this one. This is kind of different in a way. It's much more hopeful. Brings us hope as we move on, because this card is about, the focus of this card is acceptance. So it's kind of traditional, but it's a bit more hopeful, I think, than the general 10 of Swords. So the Page of Swords, diving in there, maybe without too much thought. Seems to be ready to zoom in where he likes and take fast action. And then we've got the, it looks more like a little octopus, the Knight of Swords. And again, he's doing the same. He's diving in ready to help the page, I think, in the battle. And then the Queen of Swords. Oh, she's beautiful. I really like her, and I like her snowflake too. She's kind of looking back. She's got the moon on her forehead. What might be a moon. It looks like a bit of a moon to me, but it might not be. It might be a kind of raven crown. But to me, she looks like she's demure, but powerful and in control. Sharp eye and mind are the key factors in the Queen Dream Raven. Very little passes by without her knowledge and without her stating her opinion of the situation. She is fully in control of her actions and has a deep sense of the introspective intent of others. When working with this queen, she's capable of doing any task set before her in a most efficient fashion. King of Swords. Oh, that thing she's wearing was a kind of strange raven crown, I think, because he's got one too. Okay, the King of Swords, he's got his sword. He looks like he's in charge of his own domain. He looks like he's in control and capable of anything. He looks like a pretty together kind of bloke, so I think he's pretty traditional. He can stay in charge. So we're going to go on to the cups now, which are the watery, springy, emotional cards. Okay. So the Ace of Cups, and the cup's got a little bug on it. I'm not sure. So if I can see what that mentions. It doesn't mention some of the symbols in this deck, but I do like the little bug. So let's have a look. Ace of Cups. Sunrise in the east, the light illuminates a new path leading to new ideas, philosophy and spiritual growth. So it's very kind of traditional. Though the Ace of Cups also, I think, means abundance and contentment and everything. And the Two of Cups. This one is spiritual quest. When this card appears, it may signify that a stage should begin to question the spiritual lessons you've learned and the pros and cons of past belief. Well, I guess it looks like he's got the moon on these cups, and they could be like searching for the grails. So he's got this kind of magic wandy thing here. So yep, again, different to the traditional Rider-Waite. Oh look, they've got the infinity symbol going on with the Three of Cups. Yeah, so ever connecting the process of birth, life and death. The ethereal beauty of the Trinity. So I think the traditional Three of Cups is to do with completion and victory and things and celebration. So we've got that kind of feeling going on here with the completion of everything. I always think that's kind of funny to have that at the beginning of the journey of the suit, like that element there. And then Four of Cups. So the focus of this card is inspire. And it indicates a new way to live. So that guy's thinking of buying a boat. Oh my God, I know where he's coming from. So that's the traditional Four of Cups. Oh, the Rider-Waite one, I should say. There is no set one in my opinion. But so he's kind of ignoring these and he's just seeing the pie in the sky. That's what I call my pie in the sky card. So this guy is looking at change. Embracing a new life. You may find yourself teaching others the lessons you've learned and insights into the divine. If this is the case, they will seek you out. You don't have to go anywhere. Right. Five of Cups. This is very traditional. We've got the spilling ones. So this is pretty much the same imagery as we've got on the traditional Rider-Waite. Now the Six of Cups is, I call the child card, looking back at the past in the original deck. I keep referring to the traditional decks. A lot of people that I've read say this is just very Rider-Waite, this deck, but I don't see it that way at all. So I'm just using the Rider-Waite as a kind of springboard, a comparison point, if you like. So this one is about rejuvenation, coming out of the ocean, and he's got the blood or spiritual abundance dripping down into his cups from above, and he's being refreshed from below. So he's being completely rejuvenated, which kind of rings true of the childhood theme of the original Six of Cups. And then the Seven of Cups is more like the Seven of Wands in this deck, the traditional Seven of Cups, when you've got the dreams and the illusions in the Seven Cups and they've got too much choice kind of thing. And this one said, the focus of this card is perception. It is your perception of spiritual bliss when all things come together to provide for one another. Then you sense a personal happiness that lays within the cups. Understand that the bliss a person feels is based upon attitude and gratitude of the current situation. That is beautiful. Yeah, the cups are all different, like the ones in the Rider-Waite one, but I do like the reading of that. And the Eight of Cups, the focus of this card is elevation, moving up. Seek out spiritual guidance or counselling, or even a shaman to aid you in attaining the next part of your journey. Nine of Cups. We've got him looking over what he's achieved, and it looks like they're all happily sitting there reflecting upon what he's done. But when I look at the book, the focus of this card is remembrance. As you walk through your days and even during the darker moments, reconnect to the energy within this card, recall the pride and the love. And then Ten of Cups, which is the one that I think I call, that's the one with the people underneath the rainbow, I think. And I always call it the family card of, everything being happy and sacred home and everything and content. And this one is, the focus of this card is compassion. These lessons have now made it possible for you to inspire others to new levels of love and contentment. As you begin to take flight, pulling out from the emotional pool, you are free from the limiting aspects of self-doubt, insecurity and fear, leaving the past behind. Okay, and then we've got the Page of Cups, who's taking, looks to me like he's taking a taste of life, and he looks like a kind of merry little bird that's saying, come and party with me. The Knight of Cups. Unconditional love, this card is about. With a lover's dreamy eye about what the future may hold, this knight arrives to rescue your heart, bring those feelings to light and explore the potential they hold for you. He is liable to make a lasting impression on you. And the Queen of Cups is raising, she's got the sun up there, which, or maybe that's the moon, and a harvest moon possibly. She's caught in, according to the book, she's caught in the liquid world of dreams, and her reality exists in the love affair she has within herself. Other people may be quick to perceive that this is due to an unhealthy sense of narcissism, although this most certainly is not the case. She understands the nature of universal self-love. Within this paradigm, she experiences life at an entirely new level. Her dreams are her reality. The quality of her love for herself and others emanates through every action she undertakes. Oh. And then we got the King of Cups. Anyone caught to be the object of this king's fancy is surely a most fortunate person. So he's obviously the catch of the tarot deck, the King of Cups in this suit. So now we're on to Pentacles and the earthy suit, and these are the summer cards. So we've got a lily kind of flower blooming underneath the Ace of Pentacles, and the ones that again, it's the beginning of the next adventure and the abundance of summer, and the focus of this card is opportunities. So he's looking out there for all the new things that he can be doing. And he's pausing and just checking things out, seeing what's going on. So then the Two of Pentacles, the balance, there's a kind of bit of that going on here. When in the other deck it's like the juggler with the two pentacles that is kind of balancing. There's a pussycat coming in the door. It sounds like Oscar. It is Oscar. Hello, Oscar, baby. And we've got decisions. Yep. So very similar to the traditional one. And then the Three of Pentacles. Oh, yep. Look. Plans, again, that's kind of quite traditional. Well, I normally see it as someone like preparing or getting the skills or whatever together they need to do something. So he's got the plans there. So he's obviously making plans for the future. And then the Four of Pentacles, he's got them again all in balance. So it looks like he's got trying to juggle the different things that are going on in his life. And this is one of my favourite cards in any tarot deck. I love it. It's the Five of Pentacles. And again, this one is a very traditional Five of Pentacles with the person out in the cold. And although it's a summer deck, it's got the traditional wintry feel of the Rider-Waite card when you've got the two people outside the church window in the snow. So this raven leads a rather deceptive life. On the surface he appears to be reclusive, withdrawn from society, and yet we are not aware of what lies under the surface, or literally what is right behind him. The truth of the matter is you only know what he is willing to allow you to see. His private life and public life are two very different realities. You may see this raven as a poor broken soul, but in reality he may have an abundant, stable family with a deep commitment to his beliefs, and vice versa. And the focus of this card is illusions. It's important to not always share every aspect of our lives, but be aware of what you are projecting outward. In your projection, are you being honest with the real you? Are you covering up out of fear or recriminations from others not agreeing with how you've chosen to live your life? This card also calls upon us not to always accept things at face value or to judge what you see, as that is not always the truth of the matter. Lovely. I like it very, very much. Not quite sure it fits with the picture, the definition, but I like it a lot. And the Six of Pentacles, very traditional when you've got the guy giving out some money. So, you know, you get all this abundance, time to share. Yep, the ravens work together in the never-ending process of give and take. And then the Seven of Pentacles. This is when the dreams start to manifest into reality, and he can see all this happening. He's got, maybe these are still dream ones, but he's starting to see the real one come back down there. It's a beautiful card. I love that card. And the Eight of Pentacles looks like he's feathering his nest and building something worth having and keeping. and that's going to be strong. And the Nine of Pentacles looks like he's got really good and really skilled at getting all those pentacles to come into fruition, because they're all, whereas the other ones were kind of more dreamlike, these ones look like they're in reality in the daytime now. They're here, they're not in the seen in a purple cloud of night anymore. They've come into fruition. And then we've got the Ten of Pentacles, and we've got all of what looks like the whole family of ravens here. And this more reminds me of the traditional Ten of Cups. You've got all the family there, and everything's come to fruition, and you've got abundance, and all these accomplishments are being shared. They've got worms, the raven, or the mother raven feeding the other ravens, and the father proudly standing by. And the Page of Pentacles, I see that as someone starting a new skill, seeing new opportunities. And then we've got the Knight, and he is like the mentor to the page, possibly. He's an enabler. I like the idea of him being an enabler. And the Queen of Pentacles is beautiful. Look at her. Some of these cards are just... I mean, I've told you before, I have a problem with the F word, you know, the things that birds have and cats don't. But I love these cards. So yeah, we're on to the Queen of Pentacles, and she's the provider. And she's all about respect. She's about having respect for everyone in your life. And she's very beautiful. And then again, another one of my favourite cards is the King of Pentacles. And again, he's got all the dog roses, I think they are. The focus of this card centres around solutions. When you find yourself in the realm of the King of Pentacles, people will flock to you as you seem to provide the best resolutions to their concerns. So there we are. So now, this will be a bit of a long video, but I'm going to do a spread. Reading with the Green Ravens. So I'm going to do the Raven's Claw spread, which means I've got to mix them all up again. These are those shiffer cards, so they're kind of that stiff, ultra shiny cardstock. But I think this deck looks way better trimmed down, even though, as I said, it was a mammoth job to do. It's going to need quite a lot of shuffling this deck. I can't do this riffling, but I'll try. I saw Remco do that really super fancy thing that I can't do. I know a lot of, when I was a little kid, my uncle and that, they used to play cards, and they do that and then do that backwards thing, you know, the bridge I think they call it. I'd love to be able to do that, but I can't. And it's really difficult with this cardstock because it is so stiff. So we're going to have some reversals in here, so if they come up, because the book has got reversals. So we'll see what happens. So they're probably not shuffled very well because I'm not brilliant at shuffling. Never mind, it's only a practice. Cut the deck. And where's that spread? So I'll show you the book again. And we're going to do this spread here. It's called The Raven's Claw. I don't know whether that's in focus or not. I'll put it down there and try it. So here we go. So card number 1. Number 2. Oh my god, the Lovers again. I've had the Lovers card so many times in the last few days from different decks. Number 3. And number 4. So we have got number 1, the root of the issue. What is the basis for the current situation? So we've got the Lovers, this contract, commitment. And then we've got the reversed 6 of Pentacles. It can signify that you may be throwing away your funds on frivolous things. Oh, heavens above, what are these cards like? Hello, Tim. Hello, little... Frivolous? Rubbish. You heard all my talk of play and flow and good energy. So, okay, possibly, but... And then we have justice, and justice is the right way up. And justice, to me, is about balancing things out, and I shall take justice to mean flow. So I may be flittering thing, maybe spending money on frivolous things, but it wasn't a lot. And I don't treat myself very often. But the justice in the situation is the flow. In this card, in this deck, it says it means fairness and it's traditional, but I take it to mean flow of things coming and going, you know, changing around. And then we've got the Knight of Swords. And I think the Knight of Swords is fast to action. So we've got a commitment. Where's that spread again? The root of the issue was the Lovers, the contract. The card 2, assistance. How does help arrive to aid a solution? Income, Tim the Enchanter, purchased frivolously. And then the life lesson, what do I need to learn from this experience? Flow. Just what I said the other day about playing. And card 4, the resolution, what is the possible resolution to the situation? The focus in this card is saviour. It's a good thing to be able to help others in need and vice versa. So help is on the way should I need it. And I think this reading is all about Tim. So there you are. A bit of fun and frivolity and beautiful purpleness and a little bit of woo-woo. And I hope it's not too dark because it is getting dark outside now. And I hope you enjoyed my video and it wasn't too long. I'm sorry for rambling. And it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Tim and goodbye from the beautiful little gorgeous pet bunny. Bye-bye.